Listen to me, all right? Get on my face. Welcome back, you guys. And I would say, Laman, you apologize, but I'll apologize because you all in my ear right now.
Go ahead and apologize.
We want to say sorry to you guys for that technical dysfunction a while ago. Was it technical dysfunction?
We sincerely apologize
malfunction
for our audio situation just now. Technical difficulties. You know how it
malfunction.
goes.
Laman pushed me to say malfunction because he was acting very dysfunctional a while ago.
Are you serious?
No.
Did you just say that?
I heard her.
Did my boo just say I'm acting dysfunctional?
I'm sorry. But we are back to the Entertainment Club.
We're so sorry about the audio situation just now. Technical difficulties. You know how it goes.
Yeah,
you know how it goes.
We're
back.
We're
back. And we have the hot topics for you.
And you ride with the Entertainment Club. Who else but us? Not true.
But us, right?
All right. K Flash, Lama, and Unknown. Every week, every Wednesday. Every week at 8:30 p.m. sharp on Shine No Productions on YouTube. And you know what time it is?
Hot.
You see why I'm curling my hair?
Sure.
That's how the girls act when they about to spill tea. You know what time it is?
Oh, you mix
hot.
up spanaps.
Since you said spanaps, I would say that spanaps goes more with Ray Ray and stuff like that. And when I say Ray Ray, I would like to, throw it over to dance hall and say rest in peace. And I would say moment of silence, but this is a talk show and we have to run our lips. So I would say rest in peace and my condolences to the family of dancehall icon Angela Jet Set. Okay. Yeah, Angela Jet Set, she recently passed away and she's a dancehall icon. Everyone can let you know that, she's from Fletcher's Land, Jamaica, Kingston, of course. And she's very, very, very well known in the Bronx, especially. But she's known, all across New York City, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, wherever they keep parties, Mount Vernon. She's also known, nationwide, LA, wherever we keep major dances, Philadelphia. So I want to say rest in peace to Angela Jet Set. My heart goes out to her family. My condolences. Also, another rest in peace to the owner of Onyx nightclub, Scary
Onyx.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
He also
was murdered over the week.
Yeah. I didn't want to say murder, but he was murdered. Okay.
Yeah.
Rest in peace and condolences to his family. So I would say I'm not even gonna take it there. Back to hot topics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
before you're from Fletcher's Land?
No. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My mother, we have a house there. Yes.
Okay.
We have a house, up a land, but no, not from there. Leave me alone. I know. Big up Southside. Everybody that's watching, everybody that's tuning in, big up Southside, Tel Aviv, Fletcher's Land. Anyway, Kingston. That's what I was saying.
Almanton, big up Almanton.
Almont, yes, big up East.
Garden,
big up Franklin Town.
Vineyard Town.
And Port Royal, Vineyard Town. Big up the one I don't listen.
Okay.
Bless, yeah.
Yes.
Era Circle, you're large.
And my little play area?
Yeah.
Camperdown.
Almanton come from?
Woodford Park, but it's close enough.
Man, but near race course.
We always know how to go on with our conversation. Big up Camperdown Road and Lincoln Road. My play area. Like I was saying, so since we're talking about Jamaica, let's jump into the Spanaps. Mr. Jack Cure. And we got video footage for this one. Mr. Jack Cure. I would say a well-renowned reggae artist. You guys are familiar with Jack Cure. I will tell you that if those of you who are not familiar with Jack Cure, he is the one who, in the past, I can say accused of rape. And I don't know, guilty, innocent, that's not my business. But anyway, that's the point.
Did he go to jail?
I don't, he did go to jail.
He was locked away for
You're right, because he's saying prison walls behind prison walls.
Prison walls.
Don't be singing, no, stop. Okay.
Jack Cure.
Back to Jack Cure. Mr. Jack Cure. I'm not a sound man, but I'm very close with the sound man. As my friend and my co-host, DJ Unknown, is a sound man. As our other big DJ Blazer, is a sound man.
Yep.
And we're very close with them. I'm very offended for them. You know what happened?
But let's go
You
from
see the
the
video?
beginning. Let's go from the
Man.
beginning before we get to that. Let's go from what sparked this.
Yeah.
Did you see the video?
Yeah, I saw the video.
He went on a
the-
rant, but you guys watch the video and maybe we'll figure it out after that.
Yeah.
Good day, Janko people and the musical fraternity. Sound man, producers, promoters, be careful when you call my phone and email me. I'm not the brokest artist in the business. So make sure when you're emailing me or texting my phone about dub plate, 45, stage shows, or etc., make sure your money good. Because when you see how I live, now make me show you nothing more that me. Make sure, sir, when you come with some good figures, I don't want bullshit in my ears. When you see how riches me live. So I want to make sure, when you maintain that standard.
Now, what I was gonna say before I let you, because I know you are heartfelt when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Why? I tell you.
Jacure, he didn't humble himself after that. That was just the first video. You see, that video is called the warning. I would say the warning because
Right.
he's literally letting the sound man them know when you come to him and approach him, whether it be email, phone, text, whatever, WhatsApp, come with your money,
Which
make
is
sure your money
right,
is good,
which is right,
which is
yeah.
right.
Right.
But it's the way you do things and the way you say things. But Jacure, that. How you feel about that, Lama? Before we roll the next clip,
I personally, people express themselves differently, right? I would not have expressed myself that way, but that is how we did. That's how we did it. And based on what I'm understanding, is like sound people or industry people will approach him for drops. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't want to pay what he thinks he's valued. I do not know what he thinks he's valued. I can't even say market rate because different artists charge different rates for drops, right? But basically what I say is, listen, when you come into me for a drop, come correct. My rate is X, you pay him the X, and then we can talk after that. But
Yep.
let's see.
you're saying the delivery should have been better.
Let's see what
Okay.
the next video
Now let's
says.
see the next clip.
All sound boys, mama, me name Jack here, me rich. More than 3/4 of the friend I'm in the industry. Me no need dub plate money for live. $1,000 for a dub plate for after.
So I understand you don't
No,
need dub
man.
plate money to live, but if the sound man them stop playing your music, who's going to hear it?
Thank you,
And
K-Flash.
yes, and you can just build off of social media. You know, your platform on social media have to be really, really broad, Jacure. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. My name is K Flash, and I can be reached through Shackner Productions if you want to contact me.
No.
State your piece. But I don't know. You don't need the sound man, you don't need the dub plates, because dub plates sound really good in dance. And I'm a party person. I don't know what you think, Lawman.
Yeah. He was wrong. He was wrong in how he said it,
Mhm.
right? But I think sometimes the message get lost because I'm going back to the first video. I
Yeah.
get the impression that sound people approached him for dubs or for drops
Yeah.
at rates that he's not comfortable with, and he rejected it.
Yeah.
And because of rejecting it, them basically say it look like him going like him too hype or him too expensive or whatnot. That's what I'm getting, because from these 30-second clips, you don't get ever
much.
get the full story. So I thought he gave away his rights
Yeah.
by telling. First of all, most of these sound people are from Jamaica. We're not talking about the Japanese selectors.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Jamaican heart. When you talk about selector, you're talking about Jamaicans who were playing his music. You don't tell a Jamaican man. You get a Jamaican man out of character when they mention his mother. And Jackie knows this.
Yeah.
So I think that is where he lost the battle.
No, man. I can add my 2 cents real quick.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, right, he first came, and you can't blame a man for setting his tone, his price. This is
Right.
what I charge for my services that I'm carrying out.
Right.
May I agree to that? Right? That is your fee, Jacure. Sure, thank you. But when you get out of character now, as you, Salaman, and company national not even national,
Yeah.
on a huge platform such as social media.
Exactly.
Like I don't know if it's Instagram or
It's an
Snap
international platform. It's not
platform,
national,
yeah,
no, it's
and come out
international.
and tell people
Exactly.
about their parents and stuff like that. That is very disrespectful. And then to
Exactly.
mention that me rich already, me have my money, me
Absolutely.
no need, That's technically what he's telling
Absolutely,
everybody. And I am a soul
Yeah.
man. I'm offended by it,
Right.
and I'm so shocked because if we go deep into it, Jack Yura uplift the Rasta faith. I'm gonna know so that's not part of their livity. So
Mhm.
when him go under that,
He's a
yeah,
Rasta or he's a dreadlock?
me no know, but him claim a Rasta.
Okay.
When
Sounds
him
more
there
like a
behind
dread
prison
to
walls
me.
and we are playing song them and
Uh-huh.
uplift
And pretend
image.
to be a
Him
Rasta.
behind bars.
Right.
Nobody now listen to Jack behind bars.
Right.
And we the sound man are playing music. And most of us we spend
That's
our
the
money
point.
Right.
pan dub plate from Jack Cure. Nothing wrong. Are you a price that is $1,000?
Yeah.
Sure, are you $1,000? But when you come out a character now and say, sound man, Jack Cure, you're very disrespectful. Yes, me I said,
Yeah,
man.
he should
Very,
have.
very
So
disrespectful.
the verdict is that Jacure is disrespectful. That's
Very-
the verdict.
Yeah,
Or maybe he should have directed his anger towards the specific.
whosoever. Yes.
Whoever,
Yes,
right,
the
right.
specific-
I totally agree. Instead of broad brushing
Yep.
the situation. But I think a day after Tony Mataran requested
Yes, gave him
a apology,
public apology.
a public apology within what 6 hours?
6 hours. You have 6
6
hours
hours,
from the
right?
music fraternity. Yes.
And did Jacure apologize?
Well, he did not apologize. Nikki Z, his PR, she wrote
Wow.
a long chain letter stating that he apologized. What he said was out of character and whatever. But honestly, my perspective, I'm not accepting that Jacure until you come public and say you sorry on a video like how you tell me.
Which is
So,
right.
yes.
Which is
so,
right.
So seeing that Tony Mataran was the one who put out the challenge or put out the request, I think it is right for
Yeah.
him to follow. Or maybe you need to do a video, and saying that, as a sound man, you don't accept that.
Me I do it
because-
right now. Jacure, as a sound man,
Exactly. Where
I
else would
do
he do
not
it?
accept that disrespect because you told me to go and whatever to my mother, and I find that excruciatingly hot,
And
hurtful.
Nikki Z, my darling, we know you're a friend of the entertainment club, but this is not nothing personal
Yes,
to you, right?
yes.
Big
So-
up Nikki Z.
So, Nikki, so what else do we have on the hot topic? Enough of Jacure.
Well, I mean, I don't know how to even segue because Jack Cure, that was just a powerful topic. Everyone has their own feelings towards that whole thing, but
Right.
we have another somber moment because worldwide renowned chef,
Mhm.
celebrity chef at that, Anthony Bourdain.
Oh yeah.
Anthony
Yeah.
Bourdain, he recently
Oh,
passed away
man.
as well by suicide as well.
Right.
Wow.
And I say as well because Kate Spade, the designer, she she committed suicide, previously as
Last
well.
week.
But we discussed it last week. But rest in peace to her again, and rest in peace to Anthony Bourdain. He actually hung himself.
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't know about Anthony before his CNN stint.
Mhm.
But his CNN stint was such a properly well produced series. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I
It
do
made,
too.
it made you look at traveling as it relates to food so much
Yeah.
differently, and he
Yeah.
had some very interesting guests on his
Yeah.
show. He had even Obama.
Yep.
Yeah, he had Obama. on
Man,
his
if you
show.
can get Obama on your show, you're something
yeah, he
special.
But I empathize with his family. I empathize with those who are hurting. Whenever
Yep.
I hear of cases like this, we were talking about it after when we went on break earlier or before we started going live. That sometimes some of the strongest people really need somebody to talk with.
Mhm.
And I know in our culture we do not see
Thank you.
the utility in
Thank you.
getting psychological help.
Thank you.
I do have a psychologist.
Sure.
Yeah.
How I do see-
Insurance PAP, so we get it.
Wait.
La-
I
man.
do
Wait.
have a psychologist, and there is utility in sitting and having a conversation with a psychologist on a weekly basis. Mark, you haven't been in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
but
That explains why you've been so
option is there
antsy.
for me.
Just
Behave
joking.
yourself. That option is there for me, to sit and chat with somebody on a weekly basis or however often is necessary. And I always say to people like, the mental health, is almost like, I don't want to sound like a doctor, it's like a crushed shirt. We all have to wear this shirt. You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
Some of us, we have to iron the shirt before we wear it. You get what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah, I like how you
So
explained that.
we all need a psychologist
Yep.
in our life, somebody who can bounce stuff on, and
Yeah.
that may just need a little ironing.
Yeah.
But then some people need a psychiatrist. We have to get medicated.
I
Oh, we
can't
are talking.
stand
Oh, we are
that.
three
We
word
can't go
pan.
into all of that right
Yes.
about now. But for Anthony Bourdain, like, you know, people are going through so much.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we never know what individuals are going through. So
Mhm.
we just have to give a listening ear, give an extra eye to our neighbor. You know, we
Yep.
need to get back to this whole ideology of being our brother's keeper.
Yep, lawman.
That is a very good way of putting it.
They have a saying we say, you can see a man's face, but you can't see his heart.
True.
So when we, as we were
Good point.
talking about earlier, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We can never know what a person is going through. So sometimes, as you say, lawman, it's best we be our brother's keeper. We have
Right.
to look out for each other, like us here on the entertainment club and the viewers out there. We know
Right.
everybody have somebody close to them.
Right.
Please reach out to them. Reach out to the strongest friend we have. You heard?
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, and funny enough, Dr. Fuller is actually here.
I was just about to say that.
And she's going to be touching on that. But
Yeah.
you know, I checked my social media timeline, and a lot of people were like, you know, well, if he wasn't famous, nobody would be talking about mental health. There's some truth in that,
Yeah,
you know,
there is.
but at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is the issue is on the front burner.
Exactly.
You know, the issue is on the front burner, and it's something that we should definitely
look into it deeper.
look into it
Which kind of
deeper.
works with our guest for tonight,
Right.
because she also discusses that in her book that we need to mention, Grown Up Forsaken. We have to mention this because this is an awesome book, and if you don't have it, make sure you go out and get it. All right, make sure you go out and get it, and it's written by Dr. Anesha Fuller. All right, aka Juicy.
I like the name of the lawman.
Yeah,
I like the
yeah.
name.
Why you gotta
telling
like
you.
it? Why you
When
gotta
I-
like
when
it?
The name sound juicy.
Just she is juicy.
You know, hold on there,
Yes.
Make we talk about juicy.
Yes.
All right,
Juicy and sweet.
So when something is juicy,
Sure.
right?
Here we
there
go
are
with
different ways to
llama
look at it.
and-
Juicy.
I know.
It's even it is either we're going to get sexual or we're going to get mixy.
No, sir.
You know, somebody come with a juicy story.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, them come with a
mixy story.
You get
And
what I'm
you can't
saying?
come with a spot on up.
Span and ups. And then you might say, she juicy. I want no, I'm just trying to figure out how she came by the word the
Well, we will be
alias
asking her.
juicy.
We will be asking her in
Of
just a
course,
moment.
I can't
We're gonna
wait.
find out how she came with all these
I
names.
can't wait. She's already in the building, so I'm very, very anxious to have a conversation with her. But
When we come back,
before we have a conversation with Juicy,
we will go to
we're going
break.
for a very short break.
And we'll be right back.
This is the Entertainment Club.
Oh,
We
so
do that
in sync.
one,
We'll be
yeah.
right back.
Jesus Christ. Joan, much time I tell us, stop sneak up on me, son.
How long you go keep? Oh, cut. One a weapon. Seize the tree.
Are that them away, pan? Alright, you can come out
We
of
no
my
bother,
inbox.
no bother shoot it. Don't bother shoot
Come out
it.
of
No
the
seize
comments.
the tree. No seize the tree.
Seize the tree. And it's serious. I don't know, so I don't have to wait too long. No.
Alright, Judas Kiss, season 3.
Coming
Wait is
to
over. Coming soon.
We love you.
Alright, continue to see you guys.
The thing say you are coming in and say something.
Him come in and come out already.
You need to say something.
He just came for this,
Stay in
mama.
there.
That's it.
Stay there, got you.
If they come out, you have to walk on, man. Okay. I'm here. Welcome back to the Entertainment Club. I'm your host, Lawman, and I'm alongside the lovely
K-Flash.
And guess who went on a little boys' break?
No, man, you can't bust on people,
No, but I'm just talk truth. Him left the set. You
I
get what I'm
talk
talking about.
truth,
He went for
yes.
a boys' break. But before we went on break, K-Flash, we were talking about, mental health issues and, the importance of raising awareness because we see a lot of people on the streets, in our communities, around us. And we
Yes.
never know what situations they may be going through.
Yes.
So the whole suicide of Kate Spade
Yes.
and
Anthony Bourdain.
Anthony Bourdain, it's not surprising to me because we just don't know what people are going through.
Exactly. And don't forget
You know?
that they're like every day, if you turn on the news, you'll see something about a father taking his child and, killing him and the child. You saw the woman the other day who jumped off the building in Manhattan with her 6-year-old son.
Wow.
So suicide is happening. It's
Right.
live, you guys, and it's occurring every day and around us.
Right.
It's not just happening in the celebrity world.
Right. And I'm just happy that we have Dr. Anesha Fuller
Yes.
in the building. She's a real come up story.
And
It's-
she's an
it's-
impeccable entrepreneur.
Wow.
I have to
Real
add
come up
that.
story. And she wrote a fantastic book, Growing Up Forsaken. From Vagrant to Ph.D. She's in the building.
Yes.
And we're going to have her on. But I want to just give you a synopsis of this book. And we have it right here. And she quoted Oprah Winfrey on the back, the importance of turning your wounds into wisdom. The growing epidemic of parental abandonment, the need for identifying who one is as a person and restoring one's mental health is a crisis that people today face, but they hide it and sweep it under the rug due to the fear of the judgment of others. That is so true. I see it every day. The book Growing Up Forsaken tells of one individual's struggle with parental abandonment, which drove and fostered her inner drive to succeed.
Okay. Also, it also eventually led to her seeking mental health to overcome the epidemic of parent abandonment that is plaguing so many of us today. Growing Up Forsaken opens the door for so many who are forsaken to relate to parental abandonment and seek the necessary help they need to transition from a broken individual to a restored forsaken.
That is good. This synopsis on the back of this book
Yeah.
is why I have to read this book cover to cover.
And when I finish this book, you guys are going to know because I will be talking about it. I will be discussing it.
Awesome. So coming up on the show, we have Dr. Anesha Fuller, Ed.D.
Yes.
Which means she has a doctorate in education.
Yes.
Growing Up
she does have a
Forsaken.
doctorate.
I'm very, very excited to have a chit chat with her. You're tuned into the Entertainment Club. So you see, we don't only bring music. We don't only bring Ray Ray and Spananaps. We have to educate. It's all about edutainment. And tonight we are pleased to have in the house Dr. Anesha Fuller, who's going to be talking about her fantastic book. I can't wait to have Juicy on set.
Yes, and I was going to say that because she's not just a doctor, she's not just a teacher. She is also a renowned photographer.
Really?
Yes, Miss Juicy.
She
has a website called Damn Miss Juicy.
A friend.
Yes, and
a friend. So you gotta do that. But before Juicy comes on set, we have Dre Tegs. It's Dre Tegs, right? Dre Tegs from Royal Chaos. He has a new video out. Give thanks. Here we go. Run it.
Them know the glory. Hear what? Them know the story. Dre Tegs. Yeah. My life. I remember when we never have a thing. Never have the best like Jabba thing. Never have a watch, never even have a bling. Need a thing you call on your family. Mama juggle 2 jobs at time. She make sure your belly full before bedtime. Barber shop every week, head shine. And nowadays the syrup turning a red wine. When daddy takes sick and him head a spin, and the doctor's gonna solve it with no medicine. Them people answer anything or anything. I guess them never know such other in everything. Cause nothing what me run from, you know. Coming over where me come from, you know. Just put my cup and let it overflow. My thanks and praises overdue. Cause life is the greatest gift. From a rise, me heal me king. Me have to give thanks for life. Every step and every breath I take, and every move I make, I have to give thanks. Give thanks for life. Let's talk about it. You know, some say Selassie, some say Jehovah. Some are worship money, them not know a job. Some are worship foreign gods, even though them local. Some of them still in a closet like clothes rack. Now give thanks to the G's, them those rats. So flipping ungrateful, sometime wonder how them stay up. Full time them wake up and give thanks if you have more to talk and close you put on and wake every morning. Give thanks to the friends that check for you. When you're not looking, them I watch your head for you. And don't live and die by the paper. Don't worry about no haters. Just remember, if you love it now, God will bless you with it later. Cause life is the greatest gift. From rise, me heal me kill. Me have to give thanks for life. Every step and every breath I take, and every move I make, I have to give thanks. Give thanks for life. Cause life is the greatest gift. From a rise, me heal me king. Me have to give thanks for life. Every step and every breath I take, and every move I make, I have to give thanks. I have to give thanks for life. I remember when I never have a taste. I have the best of best like Jabba taste. Have a watch, never even have a blink. Need a thing called by your family. Mama juggle two jobs at time. She makes your belly full before bedtime. Baba shop every week, head shine. The syrup turning around. And when daddy takes it, and him head a spin. Doctors couldn't solve me with no medicine. Them give up and say anything or anything. I guess them never know Jada in everything. I don't know where we run from. I mean, know where we come from. You know, just fill my cup and let it overflow. My thanks and praises overdue. Cause life is the greatest gift. From a rise, me heal me king. Me have to give thanks for life. Every step and every breath I take, and every move I make, I have to give thanks. Give thanks for life. Cause life is the greatest gift. From a rise, me heal me king. Me have to give thanks for life. Every step and every breath I take, and every move I make, I have to give thanks. Give thanks for life. I remember when we never about it. Do you remember? Some know the glory, but them don't know the story. Them know the glory, but them don't know the story. Give thanks.
Welcome back to the Entertainment Club. I'm your host, Lawman, along with the wonderful K Flash. And we are
the Entertainment Club.
We are the Entertainment Club. But we're about to have a frank conversation about an issue that has been, plaguing our society. And I use the word plaguing because it has been under the rug for some time. And that is the issue of mental health. And if you're just joining us earlier before the break, we mentioned that Dr. Anesha Fuller, ED, is in the building. She's now on set. Welcome, Dr. Fuller. Thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome to the Entertainment Club. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And we're excited to have you. Welcome, welcome.
Yes, extremely excited to be here. Yes, yes,
Miss Thing.
extremely
You see how
excited.
this is a group thing here. You see where we're like fam. You see how we just
Yeah, rotate the mic. I got it.
so you can sound much better.
Yes, I'm extremely excited to be here. I'm extremely excited to be talking about my book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you guys a brief synopsis of
Mhm.
what my book is about, the issues that's addressed in the book, and a little bit about myself.
Okay, well, since we're on that topic, I let the people know exactly who Dr. Fuller is. And when you do that, don't forget to leave out who your alter ego is.
Right, right. So
Oh,
I think I have three alter egos.
wow.
I started off with Anesha. That's my name, my family, and my close friends see Anesha. Then we have Juicy, which I feel like 90% of the people know because I'm very popular. I have a photography service that I have for this year makes 11 years that I had it. So I've been around for quite some while, and I was very popular in high school social circles because I always used to hang out and party. Our era. We used to go to Flex in Brooklyn, The Rock, college, Bigminton. I was a part of the Caribbean Student Union. So, I know quite a few people because I wasn't the inside person. I was always very outgoing.
Extrovert.
Yes, yes, and very social. And then now we have the new latest version of me, which is Dr. Fuller. This is my professional side of me that people are just now starting to see, my intellectual side more so. And it's demonstrated a lot in my new book, Grown Up Forsaken, because a lot of people tell to me they didn't really know how I think so deep and how intellectual I am.
Before we get to that, Dr. Fuller, I noticed I read where you have some connection to Brownsville.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Okay, my connection to Brownsville, I grew up in Brownsville, East Flatbush section of
Okay.
Brooklyn. So I spent majority of my youth where I hung out at and basically where I
Was it like growing up in that section of Brooklyn?
love.
Mhm.
I think you had to have your head on your body. And I also think it took a lot of strong determination and will.
Mhm.
But one thing that I have to credit about living in Brownsville, East Flatbush section, in my particular era, we had a lot of things to get involved in
Right.
that the community offered. So it kind of kept us busy. Like back then, they had the Big Apple games. I remember I used to go to that summer camp at the junior high school near where I lived. I lived a couple of blocks from Betsy Head Pool. So, we used to go to the pool in the summertime.
Right.
Back then we had the Empire Skate. There was so much
Right.
different things.
And that
So
and that
much
was
things.
Anisha growing up.
Yes, that was Anisha.
When did Juicy come into
I think I went into Juicy in my high school
play? Right.
because people always ask me where did I get that nickname from. I had a friend in high school. Matter of fact, his name was Godwin, and he called me Juicy because of my lips. I've always had very thick, full lips, and people always used to either do two things: make fun of my lips, or they used to tell me they love my lips because they were so full. So he called me Juicy because of my lips, and it was a name that stuck with me from high school into adolescent. And I have it tattooed actually on my back. Yeah.
Girl, you lucky. They called me Hootie and the Blowfish. They called me Butter Lips.
Yeah,
They called me Fish Lips Flash. Girl.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's crazy. And people used to like when I go get makeup done, like how I really start to appreciate my lips when I start to get into college, and guys be like, "You have nice lips."
Now.
Or, yeah. Even in college, they used to
Now.
tell me that. And even when I used to go get makeup done professionally, be like, "Oh, we love your lips." And it's something, one of my attributes that I love so much, because everybody's like, "You have nice full lips." People are actually paying now, getting an injection,
Exactly.
Botox to get fuller lips. So what's so crazy? Something that was ridiculed and made fun of is something that is like high in demand that I have naturally.
Special shout out to our ancestors for blessing us with these.
Yes.
Big up to Africa.
Duck lips.
So, Anisha, Dr. Fuller, I should say, you are I would say renowned, entrepreneur. You're elementary school or high school.
I teach high school now.
She's
a lot
a-
of people know me from
Yeah.
teaching elementary. I have
Yeah.
like over
Yeah.
8 years of being in
See, I remember.
elementary, early
See, well, when
childhood.
I met you, you all right. So she's a teacher. She's a high school teacher, previously elementary school teacher. She's an established photographer. Okay, and you are now adding to your resume writer slash I will say author.
Yeah.
So you're not a writer, and I must say she just received her doctorate in education. So do not sleep on Dr. Fuller. She's
Right.
all around. She's an exceptional entrepreneur. So my question to you is what actually, made you feel like you were ready to write? What made you feel like you were ready to tell your story?
Okay, so it was like various reasons why I felt like I wanted to tell my story. Number one, it's kind of like a healing process for me, therapeutic, because I do go to a therapist every Friday at 4, and I felt like I gained so much from going to the therapy. So I felt like writing my book was therapeutic because I was taking my mask off. And a lot of times in other interviews, I mentioned, even when I write on social media about the book, taking my mask off, I feel like I'm a very private person with a lot of things in my life. Like even like who I date or who I mess with, I always keep things to myself because of fear of judgment. And I feel like a lot of people right now in this day and age, we all live in the fear of judgment, especially because social media is such a big thing and people post. You can get your business exposed. Like everything plays out on the internet where it could go viral and viewed by so much people. We all live in the fear of judgment. And I feel like I took off my mask with this whole book, opening up on an issue that is a lot of people are suffering from it, and we're very, very quiet about it. And we are quiet about it because of judgment. I feel like I even got like a little anxiety like 2-3 weeks before releasing the book because I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna open up about something that I experienced, and I'm scared at what people might think about me. And I'm also scared at what people that I don't speak to or people that I cut out my life are gonna say about it.
That is interesting because you saying that you're a private person.
Mm.
Because do you think that influences the alter ego, the juicy? So people will see the juicy, the outgoing, the bubbly, but then really deep down you are more reclusive.
You know what? I think I'm very open. Like people who know me that I'm very like, if you want honest opinions, I'll tell you. I don't like to lie about stuff because I feel like when you tell a lie, you have to constantly recant your statements to cover a lie. Right. And that's like I have like 1,000 things going on. So I can't tell lies because I'm not gonna even remember what I told you. So I just rather tell you the truth and let's stick to the truth. I feel like in some parts of my life I like to keep it private because so much people know me and I'm out there. Like some things I want to keep to myself, to have a sense of that belongs to me. But other things like people always know where, basically what I do for a living, right. Photography, like basic things that I feel the public needs to know, they know.
Right. You mentioned that you have a therapist.
Yes, I do.
What influenced you to make that decision to go see a therapist?
Well,
Because there's a stigma in our community.
There's a huge stigma in our community. There's a huge stigma in the African American community. There's a huge stigma in the West Indian community towards going to a therapist. Not to give away a lot of the book because I do want people to go out and read it. I talk about how I ended up at a therapist. And it was because of a friend suggestion. And when you go out and you read the book, you're going to read closely and know the step by step that we took to get me a therapist. But the whole African American West Indian community, I never even knew that people go to a therapist for like the issues that I discuss in the book. Because normally we think of people go to a therapist, they go to a therapist because they have marital problems. You always hear people saying, oh, I'm going to a therapist to save my marriage. You always hear people saying they're going to a therapist if they are G building crazy. Or you normally hear people say they're going to therapist if they had a dramatic thing happen to them, such as rape, sexual abuse. People will go to a therapist for an outlet. You really ever hear people saying they're going to a therapist because they're not mentally stable, they're frustrated, they're probably tired of working so hard, they have issues with their family, the children are acting up. you barely hearing people go to therapy for that type of stuff. So I didn't even know how to find a therapist. I just always assumed that a therapist was lots of money. And like I didn't really put effort and thought to it because it's not something that was learned or taught to me, or I've seen someone very close to me experience. Furthermore, as let's say in the Caucasian community, they're more accustomed to therapy because they go to therapy for everything. If they feel their children are showing them too much attitude, they run and get a therapist. So they're more accustomed to therapy and more open to it. And it was something that wasn't really open or introduced to me. So I really didn't know much about it.
I also recognize I was going through the book earlier, and there seems to be a religious undertone.
Yeah.
Um, in some regards, each chapter is opened with
Biblical.
a verse, a
Biblical verse.
biblical verse. What influenced that decision?
Well, as I said in my previous interviews before, and to people, 3 people on 3 random occasions have come to me and told me that God wanted me to tell my story. Like as we say, like a prophecy or envision,
Right.
that they want you to tell my story. Like one person told me that on New Year's Eve when I was at church getting prayed for, that God wants you to tell your story because it's going to
Wow.
encourage people. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tell my story. And the whole underlying theme of the book is biblical. It comes from the saying of growing up forsaken. It's forsaken in the Bible. God made a promise to us that He would never leave nor forsake His children. And throughout the whole time of my basic growing up into adulthood, adolescent, God kept me and He kept His promise to me. And He showed me in many ways that even though I felt alone, I was never really alone because He was always near and far of putting people in my path to help me to get to where I have to go. So it has a lot to do with the fact that promise to me. And so each biblical about a different chapter that we're gonna go address. Because one of the things seeking mental help, people think that because if you go to a therapist, you don't believe in God. And one of the Bible scriptures that I put in the mental health chapter is that God puts in place people to help you. So if you know you're not mentally right, or you know you have issues that you face, no one's saying that you don't believe in God by going to a therapist. I go to a therapist, I go to church.
Exactly.
Every Sunday, I believe in God.
Exactly.
But to me, my therapy is a place for me to go and unload because I carry a heavy burden. I work a full-time job. I I have a life. I have family, friends, people
You
that
have a social life.
a social life. I was doing a PhD, a doctorate at the time, you know, of my heavy load, and I run my photography service, which is demanding because I'm booked every weekend. Sometimes I'm triple double booked, so I have guys that work for me, so I have to make sure the schedules run properly. You got to keep yourself up to par and keep the customers happy. So that's that take a toll on me. And then also I have a life. I have to go home. I cook my dinner. I clean my apartment. It's a lot, and people don't realize that. So my Fridays at 4 was my check-in spot. Like I could go somewhere. I can go somewhere judgment free. I can go somewhere where no one is going to put my business on social
Just
media
about to say
after
that.
I'm finished talking to them. And I go somewhere where it's neutral. I can just be myself and say what's on my mind, and it stays where where it needs to be.
Right.
So it's a very good place to go to. And I felt like I go every Friday, which is like a perfect time at 4 because my work week is done. All my madness from the weekend, all my madness from the week, I go unload, I get it off my chest, and then I pick back up my heavy load to continue on for the rest of the week.
I must say, I admire the way she has that whole thing to the T. You know what I mean? I was gonna say that makes complete sense to do it at 4 on Friday because you're putting behind your first life, and then you're gonna go into your weekend life. You know what I
Right.
mean? Exactly. Where it consists of photography, it consists of also socializing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
So
you got to be around people.
exactly.
You got to be friendly. You got to smile. You have
Exactly.
to You know, you got to be a people's person to go around multiple personalities. You know, so it's. I'm getting ready basically to put away Dr. Fuller. I'm getting ready to put away my other personality, Anesha, and then I take on Juicy for the weekend.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk a lot more about growing up forsaken. You know, we're gonna talk a lot more about mental health when we come back after the break. Okay, Miss Juicy.
Yes.
All right, we'll be right back.
Listen, that's how we grow up. Enough time to sleep on one bed without any fitness.
Do I look like I'm scared for 1 second?
Every single time we use him with PM. Make a young kill of money, so.
I just got screamed at by my boss because you guys gave me invalid information. What is going on?
Oh my gosh, June 6 years!
No, it's just that I've been here 6 months now and I'm still not here to nothing about my papers.
Jeff no send up a plate my money in a bit. Jeff a baby, you know. Burn them.
Primo, what happened? You don't got no heat in your car?
Let's not forget everything that I had. I have a nice folder the size of the Bible of you, okay?
4 more days, and then you done, Primo.
Nah, the nut, yeah, I eat it. Yo, listen, hold this down and protect
You mean
yourself,
hold
yo.
this down?
Yo, protect
But you
yourself.
can't leave.
Y'all gotta
You
handle
never
some
do this
business.
before.
Yo, listen, yo,
So
the
we
safety
can't
off.
shoot.
Just point and shoot. That's it. Simple.
Really? So you're gonna really see me sitting here and turn around looking at the waitress?
I'm gonna look into talking to somebody too. Don't mention that. Welcome back. It's the Entertainment Club with K Flash and Laman. I like to say Laman. And we have Dr. Fuller in the building, aka Miss Juicy. So Miss Juicy, tell the people where to get your book, your social media, where to find. Don't forget your photography stuff.
Right.
She's really good, people. Really good.
Okay, so you can give me this right here.
No. I'm just joking.
All right, so this book, my book, Growing Up Forsaken by Dr. Anesha Fuller, EDD. You can get it on Amazon. So you log on to Amazon, you punch in the name. I'm showing you right here. Punch your name, it's gonna come up, and you could order it in paperback or Kindle version. So for some people who have Kindle, you can get it on Kindle version, and or if you want to do paperback, you go do paperback. But I advise a lot of people to get paperback because a lot of people have been buying the book, sharing it. People have bought the book for people that they know identify with the issues in there. And it's a good book. So you can always go back and, refer to it. People that have brought it, my friends say they read it like 2-3 times. They read it once to read it. They read it twice to underline things that they can relate to. And they read it a third time just to go back over it one more time to just see if they miss anything, and basically to take some of the quotes and the statements that I made out of the book to use it for their own personal self.
I know we're going to. I know you're going to tell us where we can get the book again and your social media handles and stuff. But I've been going through the book, and there's a statement that you wrote that I just want some clarity on.
Hmm.
This is probably my little therapy session with the doctor.
Okay, good.
We always hear that, over time things get better, time
Yeah.
heals. But you have stated that time does not heal all wounds, and you've learned that is okay.
Listen to me. I feel like time does not heal all wounds. I mean, when I basically say that, I say that people think that if something happened to you 10 years ago, that over time that it will be okay or you forget about it. But I've had in my own personal life that sometimes I had wounds that I thought were closed, that when the right person struck the wound again, it reopened it up again.
Absolutely.
And I felt the
Exactly.
same exact way I felt 10 years ago. So that I realized that
Wow.
time does not
She's
always
right.
heal wounds. Like a common thing that my grandmother always used to say to me, time is the master of everything. But in some sense, it's really not, because if somebody strikes a wound that has been closed, you're gonna reopen it and it's gonna be a nightmare again.
Right. Another statement that you made.
That's a
So I'm,
fact.
I'm reading. So many times I've dated men who were nasty, extremely negative, or who looked to destroy my self-esteem. Why?
I feel like to answer that, I'm gonna tell you basically to sum it up. I feel like I have growing up, I didn't make all the right choices in guys that I date. And because I didn't really grow up with my dad, I think that played a major issue too. Because normally your dad serves as the first man that you love, guys who will show you and tell you about male figures. And I really didn't have that. So I just made choices to make choices because I like a person instead of really getting to know the person's character, their ways, and how they are.
Is that where the parental abandonment
Yes, that's
issue
the part
came
of
up?
it. Stuck,
Mhm.
it basically played a role. And then even too, like I was having a conversation with my boss and we were talking about it, why a lot of young girls are so promiscuous at this early age. And even so when you have some women, they treat their man like their daddy. Like, what are you looking for? Are you looking for that father figure that you did not have, that kind of acceptance and love? Because your husband or your boyfriend is like your spouse. You're supposed to be connected with that person, and of course, a man is supposed to lead and you follow. But still, the way how some people act on me, like a man is like their daddy. Like, is this because you didn't have a dad?
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a
Okay.
good point.
I
Well,
follow you.
yeah. You want to get all in juicy business, not tonight. Stay out of Dr. Fuller business tonight, Lawman. All right. Read the book.
I will.
So before we go more into the whole mental health thing, I just want to ask you. I know that you basically you kind of open all wounds in this book, and you kind of dive a little bit into your personal life, but you would say it's also a little bit of a self-help book, right?
It is.
I feel like the quotes that you put in there are to pretty much, besides putting your business in there, you're giving little quotes to help people understand and for people to be able to, look within themselves as well and see that you overcame some things. So maybe they could too with the lovely words that you wrote in the book.
Right. I basically break down the different types of parental abandonment in the book. I'm not gonna give it away because of course I want you to buy it. But I put in the different types that everyone could identify with. Some people could identify themselves as not having any parents. Some people could identify themselves with being raised in a single parent household. And most important one of all is people could identify with being living with their parents but being rejected, because a lot of people do not connect with their children, especially like I keep stressing with the whole age of technology right now. People are disconnected. Instead of driving your kids to school and spending that quality time with them, to talk to them, bond with them, you push them in an Uber and you go about your business. You understand me? And I basically in the book talk about issues that everyone can identify with, and basically I also list celebrities that have been suffer from parental abandonment, but look at where they're at now. So it's never where you started, it's always where you end up at and where you want to see yourself end up at.
Okay.
Right. So that's the whole parental abandonment issue. We spoke earlier about Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade and all these celebrities who basically took their lives. And this is connected to mental health. Where does that, if at all, fall in any of the themes in this book?
Well, it falls in the theme of this book because I talk about mental health, and also I talk about the taboo and the stigma in our community with mental health. Mental health. I address the fact that it's basically only mad people go to therapists. People think you don't believe in God. Only white people go to.
Those are the stigmas.
Those are the stigmas towards it. A lot of people think they cannot afford it, and the most important one, people are ashamed to go to a therapist. Because even I was ashamed. I never used to tell people where I was going on Fridays at 4. I used to be like, I'm going to therapy, and people used to think I something happened to me because I'm like always in some type of accident or something dropping down the steps somewhere. And people used to text me, "Oh, Juicy, why you going to the therapist every Friday?" I said, "Me, I got to shrink. Like, I had to just come out and tell you, I'm going to a shrink. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm going to a shrink. I'm going to a therapist." So a lot of people are embarrassed to say they're going to a therapist.
Right.
And what's so crazy, after a lot of people have read this book, they have come out to me and told me they wanted to go see a therapist, but they were embarrassed or they didn't know how to.
I mean, I encourage people to go if you can afford it. I know my insurance.
Well, when you work for the Department of Education,
my insurance,
your insurance is lit.
Actually, it's not the Department of Education that is paid for it, right? Well, my insurance takes care of my psychologist, not my I don't have a psychiatrist.
I think it's called psychotherapy. They
right. And it is very important to go to me.
You can't admit to your insurance. I'm gonna go see one.
Marry, we can't get
but
no, if you can check your insurance to see if it is covered, because it is very important.
Very.
And my therapist didn't understand me at first, because oh, Mr. Lynch, why don't you speak? You're depressed. I'm not depressed, but become more fight and can't fight. No, sometimes in suppressing, no, seriously, in suppressing your anger, sometimes it actually can come off as depression, or sometimes you just want to fight. Sometimes you want to do something and you have to really talk to somebody so you can let out that. So
I just remember something funny that happened to me
like,
when I thought about that. Like,
serious stuff.
I got to a point where I was so angry, and this was yesterday. I was so angry that I caught myself like fighting like the breeze. Like I was literally moving my hands like I was fighting the air.
Therapist, my friend. You need to see a therapist.
I'm gonna talk to someone. But anyone, like I was saying, that was a good.
You need to see a therapist.
Yeah. I'm gonna look into it. But there's nothing wrong with me. I just have a lot on my shoulders as everyone else,
But please tell us where we can get your book again.
Once again, it's on Amazon. Type in the title "Growing Up Forsaken" and it will pop up, and you will see it. You can buy the paperback or the Kindle version.
Right. And where can we find you on social media?
It's under my second personality. It's Miss Juicy at Damn Shorty. Miss Juicy Damn Shorty. You can find me on there.
That's Instagram?
Yes. And I mean, if you follow the Entertainment Club Instagram page and click, and you'll find my media page.
Okay. You on putting this book out. It must have been a challenge, emotionally.
It was an emotional challenge at first. I had a little anxiety at first. But then again, I'm like, you know what? And to the end of the day, people are gonna judge you, people are gonna talk to you, but talk about you. And that's life. Like, and then I have a mentor named Dion Brown, which is an excellent person. She told me, Anesha, you got to do what you got to do. If you want to step into your greatness and achieve, you got to be willing to be criticized, judged, talked about.
It's true.
Look at all the celebrities, they chastise them, but it's still rising to the top. There's going to be critics.
You said Anesha Brown?
Her name is Dion Brown.
Dion Brown. Blessed love Dion Brown if you're watching and or listening. And she made a statement that I want to talk about like quickly. I know we're being asked to go to break, to step into your greatness. If you're stepping into something, it means that you're coming from somewhere. And a tagline that you used on the book is "From Vagrant to Ph.D." And I guess we don't have time to talk about the Vagrant
She can come back.
But please, we're going to go for a break, and after the break, we'll talk a little bit more about where you can get the book, and we'll close out. Going for a very short break. This is the Entertainment Club. We'll be right back.
Listen, that's how we grow up. Enough time to sleep on one bed without 10 fitness.
Do I look like I'm scared for 1 second?
Every single time we use him with PM. Make a young kill of money, so.
I just got screamed at by my boss because you guys gave me invalid information. What is going on?
Oh my God, June 6 years!
No. It's just that I've been here 6 months now and I'm still in the area, so nothing about my paper.
Jeff no send up a plate my money in a bit. Jeff a baby in a
Burn them. Primo, what happened? You don't got no heat in your car? Let's not forget everything that I had. I have a nice folder the size of the Bible of you, okay? 4 more days, and then you done, Primo.
Yo, listen, hold this down and protect
You mean
yourself,
all
yo.
this though?
Yo, protect
But you
yourself.
can't leave.
Y'all gotta
I never
handle
do
some
this
business.
before.
Yo, listen, yo,
You
the
can't
safety
shoot.
off, just point and shoot. That's it, simple.
Really? So you're gonna really see me sitting here and turn around looking at the waitress?
Welcome back to the Entertainment Club. I'm your host, Lawman Lynch, along with the lovely K Flash and DJ Unknown. It's a privilege for us to have on set, as you know, Dr. Anesha Fuller. Before we went on break, we were talking about the fact that your friend, encouraged you to step into your greatness.
My mentor, actually.
Your mentor, right? So we're talking about, coming from one stage to the next, and a tagline on your book, as I mentioned, is from Vagrant to Ph.D. What motivated that tagline?
Well, what motivated that tagline was the fact that I'm a hustler. Everyone knows me.
Every day I'm hustling.
Yes, I'm a hustler. From the age of 14, I've had a job. From the age of 18, I had 2 jobs. And I started doing my photography my last year in college. And basically, I paid my way through school from my bachelor's to master's to my doctorate, and I don't owe any student loans.
Wow.
So I basically hustle.
Congrats,
and
man.
I struggled when I was hustling. Like, I had to put aside a lot of things that I want to do. I wanted to do a lot of trips I wanted to take because I had to see the finish line. And why I'm highlighting that is because right now we live in an era where everything's glamorous, everyone's rich, everyone is perpetrating what they're really not, and no one wants to seem as if they're struggle. So I'm basically letting you know that I started off from nothing and look where I ended up at. And I don't owe any loans. Like, people like basically see me now. Oh, and the first comment is because they don't know how to approach you or don't know what to say. Oh, you're in debt. You probably owe a lot of loans. And I'm like looking at them like, let me burst your bubble. No, I don't. I don't owe any loans and I'm not in debt. I just know how to hustle, and I know the importance of what it is to put your priorities first. Like, I didn't have a car until I finished my master's because I knew if I brought a car, then I would have to be worrying about fixing the car every minute, and that would interrupt me going to school. So I used to do the train and the bus.
Right.
You understand me? And at different periods of my life, I elevated, and did certain things, but I always had school as my first motivation.
Right.
Because that's basically what you need
Right.
to get you to where you have to go.
We're almost out of time, but I want you to give, what advice would you give to the younger you?
The younger me will be, the advice I would give to me is to not fear judgment. I feel it's a battle that I fought for years, judgment. And I feel like the younger me, and also for the younger generation people, we all fear judgment.
Right.
We all basically fear critics, people judging us and what they're gonna say. And you can't, once you live your truth, no one could judge you.
True.
And in this book, I take off my mask and I live my truth, so no one could judge me.
Who should get this book?
Everyone. People have bought it for people that they know that suffer from parental abandonment issues and mental health issues. I made it so that children can read it. The wording is worded so that a 10-year-old could read it, a child in middle school, a child in high school. Everyone could read it, because I keep in mind that every day when I step into my school building and I step into the classroom, I face children that are just like me. So I wrote it in hopes that when they read it, they can see, it's really not where, as I always mention, it's not where you start, it's where you end up at. And you're looking at someone every day that was you.
Real quick before we go, can you tell, let everyone know what about your nonprofit organization that you run?
Yes.
That you started?
Basically, I put out my non-for-profit. I wanted to start it up for this school year, but the school year is getting ready to end. So it will kick off for the school year coming. And a lot of the issues that we're going to be addressing in the non-for-profit is educational awareness issues. And one of the issues that I did for my dissertation was run a program evaluation on an early childhood literacy curriculum. And it basically highlights that children need strong literacy curriculum and foundations from an early age that will help them as they go through their educational career and also into their professional career. Because a lot of children suffer with the ability to be able to read and comprehend what they read, and also to write solid paragraphs, to structure their wording properly. And then when they leave high school and they transition into the work world and college, just struggling. They got to be taking remedial courses to get them up to par to, juggle with college life and writing papers. And also in the work world, they can't write proper emails. They don't know how to spell properly. They don't know how to construct paragraphs. So it's an issue that I feel like I can give so much, and I have so much people around me that willing to help and can help, that it's within me to give back.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Congratulations.
You're in awe by Dr. Fuller, right?
Yeah, this is a wonderful undertaking. I get the sense that a lot of thought, went into this process. You opened up to the world basically by publishing this book. And we want to thank you and encourage you, because you have been an inspiration to us.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you have inspired and motivated our viewers tonight as well. So thank you very much for passing by.
Thanks for having me.
Passing through the entertainment club.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you very much for being here this week.
Thank you. I want to personally thank you because you're my girl.
I know. We're friends.
And yes, and I just learned a lot more, and I'm going to learn a lot more after I finish reading this lovely book. But I want to thank you for coming through the entertainment club and, opening your world to us and, blessing our viewers, with all this information, because a lot of things we discussed, they had no clue about. But we want to thank you. Come again. This is Dr. Anesha Fuller, aka Miss Juicy. You can follow her on Instagram and Facebook. And we want to thank you for coming to Entertainment Club. We're here every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Shiner Productions on YouTube and E Plus 391 and 403. Don't forget, tune in next week. Real Deal FM 92.9 FM, The Entertainment Club, K Flash, Laman, Unknown. Big up Shiner Productions. Big up Anjava Real Films. And we are out. See you next week.
Listen, that's how we grow up. Enough time to sleep on one bed without 10 picnic.
Do I look like I'm scared for 1 second?
Every single time we use him with PM. Me couldn't Yankee love money, so.
I just got screamed at by my boss because you guys gave me invalid information. What is going on?
Oh my God, June 6 years!
No. It's just that I've been here 6 months now and I'm still not here so nothing about my papers.
Jeff knows enough to play my money in a bit. Jeff a baby, you know.
Boy, skin burn them. But even what happened? You don't got no heat in your car. Let's not forget everything that I had. I have a nice folder the size of the Bible of you, okay? 4 more days, and then you done.
Nah, the nothing, yeah, I eat it. Yo, listen, hold this down and protect yourself, yo. Yo, protect yourself.
But you can't leave.
Y'all gotta handle some business. Yo, listen, yo, safety off. Just point and shoot. That's it. Simple.
Really? So you're gonna really see me sitting here and turn around looking at the waitress?